Welcome, Fabian, to the Bitcoin Students Network Virtual Summit. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for asking me. It's great to be here.
We're highlighting you today as part of our Dev Career Pathways. So I understand that you've been a student participant of the Summer of Bitcoin program, and you got to work with an excellent senior Bitcoin developer who was able to mentor you. Why don't we start off just by introducing yourself, where you went to school as a student, and how you first heard about the program?
Yeah, great. So I'm here in Berlin, in Germany. I grew up in the Rhine-Main area. It's close to Frankfurt with the big stock exchange. You might know the city. And after that, after finishing school, I decided to move to Berlin, and I started to study a special degree that is only available at the Technical University of Berlin. And it's kind of a union of multiple subjects. It's like you have maths, physics, and computer science, and you can choose all different courses from that union. And with that, I dug into computer science more and more, as I was not so interested in physics and all of the lab hours you spend. And when I started to look more into computer science, I was first introduced to the hash function in one module. And this was during COVID 2021, 2020, this area. And I was really fascinated by this idea that you cannot have an inverse of some functions. And Bitcoin was in the news, and I started to read the news, what we have about Bitcoin, what's happening. And then I first thought, well, I can just reverse that function, and then I will crack Bitcoin. And I realized quickly in the first semester that it's not possible. And after that, I started to continue reading about it, and I went to multiple Bitcoin meetups. One quite famous one, I guess, is the Socratic seminar we have here in Berlin. We have one core developer, Fabian Jahr. He has the same name than I have, which has been creating some misunderstandings sometimes. I'm not a core developer yet, maybe. Well, yeah, and I just talked to him, and in the Socratic seminar, they presented us the Summer of Bitcoin school. And I saw that, I was like, well, that's an opportunity. I've been always standing basically on the sideline, looking at it. Why not start contributing? I've been interested in the Lightning Network. I span up my own Bitcoin full node in 2022, I think. I had issues with the Raspberry Blitz. Then I set up on another old laptop, and this is still working actually. So yeah, and then Fabian Jahr connected me with Rene, because Rene was just visiting here in Berlin, and we went to drink a coffee, and yeah, I just started to talk with him. He's really friendly, really helpful, and I presented him my idea, the project that I finally built together with him. And yeah, he was supporting the idea. We talked about details, and I was able to go through the initial stage at Sum of Bitcoin. You had like, I think it were 4 different coding challenges about Bitcoin. And after that, you need to write a project proposal where you kind of advertise yourself that you're a good candidate for the project. And ultimately, it worked out, and I had the opportunity to work with Rene.
Wow, that's really amazing to hear. Something about your story that's very familiar to a lot of other students and people who are starting their careers in Bitcoin is that you took the initiative to go in person to a meetup, and then you were able to directly meet somebody there who held your hand into the onboarding process. And I think that shows how friendly the Bitcoin community is. When somebody comes and they say, this is something I really want to do, this is something I've been interested in, the community is there and ready to support you. So I think your story is another great testament to that.
Yeah, definitely. I can also add another story. I did an exchange year in Barcelona, and in Barcelona, they also have a strong community, Bitcoin Barcelona only. And yeah, I was the youngest, and you know, you're in a foreign country and you try to make connections. and I went to the meetups. I introduced myself, and they were so open. They helped me a lot, and I also learned a lot. Like in that time, I set up my own node, and there were some very, very sophisticated software engineers, and they were helping me a lot. So yeah, I can definitely encourage everyone to just be a bit open and go out of the comfort zone and just be yourself, and things will turn out good, I think.
That's excellent. I'd really like to hear more about what was the work that you did together with Rene as part of your Summer of Bitcoin project. What did you two collaborate on together?
Yeah, so as if you don't know Rene, he's a mathematician and he has been doing a lot of, I would say, fundamental research about the Lightning Network. He came up with a theoretical mathematical model of the Lightning Network, and his research has shown limits of the Lightning Network. And yeah, we just have a very objective view on the Lightning Network. And there's also the practical side where you have thousands of nodes, tens of thousands of channels, and they all produce data every second, basically. And this data is available. There are big gaps into it. And we, at least as far as I know, although I'm still working on it, we cannot really understand this data in full depth. And my idea was to have a tool. Ultimately, it's a very clever index database where we store all of that data and we make it possible to query it in all different ways. And Rene was really helpful with that. He's a mathematician and he has also been working a lot with data. So in multiple ways on the technical side, but also more on the management philosophical side, if you know what I mean. It's more about like supporting someone. What happens if you struggle or find a wall? He was really helpful and motivating me. And yeah, in the end, I built a tool. It's called ln-history.info. And it's a API in the end. It's infrastructure and you can query it. You can make requests and you can get a snapshot of the network for a given timestamp. And with that tool, and this only takes a few milliseconds. Like if you do the query after 1 second, you have the full graph. The graph might be quite big, so multiple megabytes, depending on your network connection. It might take a few seconds to download it, the response, but the query on the database itself is really quick. And with that tool, we can see over time how the network topology changed. We look at different snapshots at different timestamps, and we can try to see patterns, which channels were closed quickly, which channels are open very long, and especially how did the fees change on each channel? Can we optimize the network by tweaking the fees to make it cheaper or more reliable? All of those questions can be answered with an empirical evaluation.
That's really cool. We're going to put up a nice URL on the screen so that students and viewers can go live to the website and play with what you've built and make sure that's shared with the community.
Great, yeah, thanks.
Do you have any closing remarks for other students out there who are interested in just getting started in Bitcoin development?
So at least from my point of view, looking 3 years back, I didn't know that if there was any work to do. Like you see all of that work happening, but you think like, yeah, they are almost done. I cannot really contribute. And as soon as you enter that and actually have your own project or start contributing, do pull requests to other projects, you realize that there's so much to do and that you don't know how to get the time to continue working on those projects. So the best idea is first get to know people in person. And after you have some connections, people who know you, you can ask them. There are always seniors who have an overview of what to do. They help you. And at some point, you are so motivated and you like have your own baby with your own project or your own pull request, your own feature that you just want to contribute on it in your free time. And maybe at some point professionalize in it. You learn with that a lot. Bitcoin has so many different topics, especially in software engineering, that you can learn. Yeah, it's a very, very good opportunity.
Thank you very much, Fabian. I know the entire Bitcoin community is so grateful to have you working on this great project.